NASCAR Coast to Coast, presented by Hercules Tire.
1 hour of news, opinion, and interviews about NASCAR, K&N Pro Series, NASCAR Wheel and Modified Racing, and more.
Now here are your hosts for NASCAR Coast to Coast, Buddy Long and Andy Seuss.
The Wheel and Modifieds return to hallowed grounds with a champion focused on yet another title. A Canadian sophomore breaks the road course jinx on the Pinty Series, and it's hometown cooking in Victory Lane, and a little bit tighter points battle in the NASCAR Can-Am Pro Series East. It's Wednesday, September 7th. Welcome to the Week 29 edition of NASCAR Coast to Coast here on MRN.com. Buddy Long in studio with you this afternoon. Kyle Rickey has the week off, enjoying some well-deserved time off with the family up in New England, so it gives us a chance to talk and pull in our Southern Super Sub here for NASCAR Coast to Coast, defending NASCAR Wheel and Southern Modified Tour champion Andy Seuss, who got a weekend off, wasn't planning on it, but did spend a Labor Day weekend, not at a racetrack, but not by your choice, as East Carolina Motor Speedway, one of the tracks that got bit by the lingering effects or initial effects of Hurricane or Tropical Storm Hermine.
Yeah, we were really looking forward to going there. It would be the first time the Wheel and Southern Modified Tour went to East Carolina Motor Speedway. So we were looking forward to the challenge that track presents. Very worn out, tight turns, D-shaped, pretty neat place. So we'll get another shot at it this Sunday. Hopefully the weather's on our side, and really excited to see how that race plays out.
The Visit Martin County 150, as Andy just mentioned, will be coming up this Sunday at the East Carolina Motor Speedway. Now, that also sets up the stage for 3 consecutive weekends, almost the entire month of races. You do have one more week of a break in between your Caraway race in Charlotte, but after East Carolina, it's right on to South Boston, then Caraway, a week off, and then Charlotte. So you guys are ready to tackle it with just a 10-point gap between you and Burt Myers. Very attainable for you.
Yeah, it is, and it's looking a lot like last year. We didn't know we were in the points battle until the second to last race we won at South Boston. Great battle with George Brunholzl, and stuck with the point lead through the finale. So we dug ourselves a pretty big hole last year, and I didn't even look at points, know it was possible. Somebody told me after the South Boston win. So this one actually maybe a little bit more doable, but Burt Myers and the Myers Brothers Racing are on their game. So we just got to kind of capitalize, get a little bit momentum going. We've had a really good last 3 races with all podium finishes, and if we keep that up, we'll have a good shot at it.
Well, 2 drivers that are gunning for the championship, not to count out George Brunholzl III, currently 3rd in the series standings. Danny Bone having a very good season, as well as Bobby Meismer Jr., those drivers and many more. Again, the Visit MartinCounty.com 150 coming up this Sunday at the East Carolina Motor Speedway. Meanwhile, coming up on today's show, the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour drivers had the opportunity to revisit the Oswego Speedway for the first time in 27 years. And for a driver that had never set his eyes on the racetrack, went out and took the victory, and that's Doug Coby, our current Wheel and Modified Tour Series points leader. Pretty phenomenal run for that driver over the weekend.
Yeah, really neat to see the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour going back there, a facility with a lot of history in modifieds with the Race of Champions and other things, but really glad NASCAR got the chance to go out there. And what can you say that hasn't been said about the Doug Coby, Mike Smiriglio, Phil Moran team really clicking? And I guess now that Justin Bonsignore kind of had his momentum, the 2 team really had to go out and say, hey, we're not backing down.
Timmy Solomino came home second over the weekend. Big news for him. He just put on his social media page last night that he would be returning to Flamingo Motorsports for a 3rd season, which is good news for him. Currently 3rd in the standings. The Riverhead Raceway winner, Justin Bonsignore, came home 3rd, followed by Rob Summers and Patrick Emmerling. There you see the balance of the top 5. Chuck Hosfeld in the 4-car. He was subbing for Jimmy Blewett. He came home 6th. Followed by Rowan Pennick, Chase Dowling, Ronnie Silk, and Craig Lutz. The series has no break. They will return back to the Seekonk Speedway in Massachusetts. I think a track that you've been accustomed to, or maybe have run. Have you run Seekonk before?
Got my first ever modified tour car win at Seekonk in the DAV Memorial. What seems like years ago now. And, a wonderful facility. The family does a great job putting that on, and this is going to be a highlight for their season for sure. Great side-by-side race, a track I really like where you don't just get next to somebody and go by them. It may take 3, 4, 5 laps. Could be the inside, could be the outside. You're always turning. It's a bowl. They call it the Cement Palace. Beautiful facility. If you're in the area, make sure you get a chance to check that out.
The AnytimeRealty.com 150 coming up at Seekonk this upcoming Saturday night. And again, Doug Coby leading Justin Bonsignor by 20. The gap was 13. 4 races left to go. Anything can happen. You've got Seekonk, you've got New Hampshire, Stafford, and Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park. The players may be different as far as the challengers to Doug Coby in the form of Solomito and Bonsignor, but this looks like a title battle that's going right down to the World Series of Asphalt Racing at the end of the year at Thompson.
Yeah, it sure is, and I'm sure everybody's kind of on their heels for the next 2 races. Stafford and Thompson, not saying that it's played out or known or anything like that, but you kind of know what you have at this point of the year with the multiple races at those facilities leading up. Nobody's been to Seekonk in a while. No, and Loudon, anything can happen. So I know those guys are looking to play it safe, not get caught up in anything, but at the same time, they're going to have to capitalize on gaining some points on Doug Coby.
So we'll get the thoughts on Doug Coby and his victory over the weekend at the Oswego Speedway. Also on today's show, Kevin Lacroix. He has had a very, very good season. Really, it's his sophomore year, but he is listed as a rookie, and we're going to have to ask him about that. He scored 2 victories last year as a rookie. He's got 2 this year. He ran 6 of 11 races, so I'm going to have to ask him what the criteria is to still allow you to be a rookie, but he broke a jinx. He hadn't been able to win or finish on road courses and really put together a phenomenal effort. He was chasing down Alex Tagliani early in the event and eventually just wore down defending series or former series champion LP Dumoulin to win the Can-Am 200 over the weekend. So it's going to be interesting to talk to him. Dumoulin came home second in the event, followed by the current rookie leader and points leader, Caden Lapsevich. Robin Buck, a very good run in 4th, and Jason Hathaway, who was the winner back early in the year when they ran at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park earlier this season, was 5th. Now, Andrew Ranger was only down by 12 going into the event. Engine issues, and I'm not sure if you're too familiar with how tight the Canadian Tire Series points are because you've had, or the Pinty Series points, you've had some tight battles going right down to the wire, but this series seems like it always is single digits going right down to the final event. Right now it's a 30-point gap between Lapsevich and Ranger, and they've only got 2 races left to go, and they're both on oval, so that might be a little tough. Yeah,
it sure is a tight points battle there, and I think that's a testament, too. That series really has some tight competition. And like you said, the rookie battle this year between the race winners, points leaders, very impressive. And then, of course, just the veterans trying to make it happen year after year. Very neat up there in the Pinty Series this year.
The Labor Day weekend was very thorough. We went all the way through Monday to have NASCAR Touring Series events, which ended with the Kevin Whitaker Chevrolet 140 for the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East as they returned for the second time back to Greenville Pickens Speedway. Kyle Benjamin led 121 laps in the first event, only to finish second to Justin Haley. Came back in a big way to score the victory over the weekend, which was his second career win. Brandon McReynolds, running a car for team owner Tommy Baldwin, was second. Dominique Van Wieringen, that was her career best for a female driver, for third. Now, that isn't the all-time best for a female driver. Kenzie Rustin did have a second-place finish in her career in the K&N Series. Great to see Ronnie Bassett Jr. as well as his brother Dylan. They're back on the circuit. Ronnie came home 4th. Dylan was 6th, sandwiched in between them. The current series point leader, Justin Haley, as he had a top 5. There you see John Holloman the 4th, Ruben Garcia Jr., Harrison Burton, and Spencer Davis making up the top 10. But when I looked at this, I mean, what a great run for Kyle Benjamin. He shaved about 9 points off of Haley's lead. It's still at 27, but they only have 2 events left to go. One of them is the road course at New Jersey Motorsports Park, and Justin's very good there, and then they end up at Dover International Speedway. But when you look at it, 27 points in 2 races, what do you think when you look at that and you have 2 races left to go? Do you still think, okay, this guy that's in front of me has been doing so good, but we still got a shot at him?
You do. You never give up. And, you know, when people ask me in my situation, I just give the answer, if I win every race left, that's all I can do. And, you know, obviously Kyle Benjamin has to do that. He has the capability with the Rainier Racing team. He's got the ability as the driver. But it does look like there probably going to have to be some misfortune for the point leader. So it's tough. And if he just goes out and does his best the last 2 races, that's all you can do. And, you know, I'm sure those guys will be up for the task. 2 really neat venues to close out the season. Both could be, again, wild cards. You know, a road course, and then Dover. Dover's just an amazing racetrack, the Monster Mile, and can produce a lot of wild finishes. So I'm sure that's going to be a nail-biter up to the end, even with the points gap, it's really not going to matter until the checkered flag falls at Dover.
Well, the penultimate race for the K&N Pro Series East, the JustDrive.com 125, coming up September the 17th. New Jersey Motorsports Park. Again, Justin Haley with a 27-point edge over Kyle Benjamin. The race from this past Monday will re-air on Friday, September the 9th at 11 a.m. on NBCSN. So be sure and catch all the action there. It's so cool to just sit back, and I was doing this last Thursday evening. Almost forgot about it. It was about 7:15 p.m. I said, oh, God, that's right. The Riverhead race was on. And it was so cool to just click it on and watch people like Bonsignor, Sean and Timmy Sullivan, kids that ran karting with us, and watching them on television, and then see some of the locals in Tom Rogers Jr. and some other drivers, Craig Lutz doing very well. But to see these kids that you watched, and yourself as well, when you have some of your events on television, you were with them in the lower divisions of racing while they were coming up, and now you get to see them on national television. That's got to be so cool for you guys. It
really is. And when you walk around town and you tell people you're a race car driver, and they go, okay, yeah. After, the day after one of those races is aired and you go to get your morning coffee at the local gas station, you can't get out of there, and everybody's talking about it. And it makes you feel really good that it's noticed in your communities and stuff. But they're doing a great job airing the races. They're really, a lot of them coming on the second half of the season. It's really neat. But it also just shows the whole country and whole world. It's not about just the local where you can see it. Obviously we can go to the races. It's getting the word out. Modified racing is exciting. Riverhead Raceway, as you said, is an exciting track. The Partridge family's done a great job improving that facility. We've had Bristol on lately, Thompson, Bowman Gray Stadium for us. So really, really cool to be just shown on that level. It is pretty. It's humbling and real. I'll say from all of us drivers, we're very appreciative to have that opportunity. Well, the Riverhead telecast was not good for Doug Coby in that run, but he rebounded in a big way with a victory at Oswego. When we return, Doug Coby joins us here on NASCAR Coast to Coast.
NASCAR Coast to Coast will be right back on MRN.com.
Looking for a great spot for an affordable beach vacation, a family getaway, or the perfect romantic retreat but just can't find the time? Let the Plaza Resort and Spa help. A vacation on the world's most famous beach is sure to help you reconnect with the ones you love. You will discover the grand tradition of hospitality and service at this sparkling Daytona Beach hotel, located directly on the beach. A Plaza Resort and Spa weekend escape is the ultimate in relaxation, with world-class massages, facials, body wraps, and more at the Plaza's very own Ocean Waters Spa. She'll love you for giving her such a fantastic weekend getaway. The Plaza Resort and Spa, located at 600 North Atlantic Avenue in Daytona Beach, one of the area's premier hotels and the perfect choice for any type of getaway. Book online at plazaresortandspa.com or call 1-855-DB-PLAZA. That's 1-855-327-5292.
Back to NASCAR Coast to Coast. Here's Buddy Long and Andy Sykes.
Well, it's pretty cool when you don't even lay your eyes on a racetrack and you get out there and you're pretty comfortable. It says a lot about a driver, a lot about a team. When you get out to a racetrack and you pretty much dominate, lead for about 122 laps of the event, get yourself right back up on the horse after a rough run at Riverhead. You pad the points lead a little bit more and get yourself in a pretty good spot. Doug Coby joins us right now, the leader of the NASCAR Wheel of Modified Tour. Doug, welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast, and congrats on a huge victory at Oswego Speedway.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. What's going on, Andy? I see you're stealing Kyle's job over there, so that's pretty cool. Another modified guy booting somebody else out, so that's nice.
Yeah, I had to give him the Nerf bar, get him out of here.
Yeah, exactly. Use the chrome horn on him, get him right out of there. So, yeah, guys, it was a great weekend for us at Oswego, and really exciting to go to a brand-new racetrack. Not only that I had obviously never driven before, but never even laid my eyes on before, and to come out of there with a win, like you said, rebounding from a tough night at Riverhead. Just a nice little exclamation point kind of in the middle of the summer here, saying that we're not going away and we're going to try and win this third championship in a row.
Well, and it's not going to be easy. Once again, we talked about it at the top of the broadcast. Last year it was a battle with Woody Pitkat and Ryan Preece. You dug yourself out of the hole after a rough outing at Bristol last year and came up like gangbusters. This year, Timmy Solomito and Justin Bonsignor, they are right there, and it looks like from this point to the very end, it's going to be you three guys and maybe a couple of more that aren't going anywhere. Those names are rising to the top when it comes to the checkered flag at each and every event.
Yeah, I made a comment to Timmy after Oswego, and I said, it figures I go out there and win, and him and Justin finish second and third. And, usually what happens every year on the tour, there's 2 or 3 teams that separate themselves on a week-by-week basis and seem to come away with the best finishes when they need them. And certainly the 51 and the 16 teams have been, right at the top of the heap for the last several years on the tour. And, we're there too, and we're not going away. And we dug out of the hole last year, and there's nothing that says that, either one of them aren't going to be able to do it over these next 4 races here. So it's going to be pretty exciting with Seekonk coming up and another newer track for the tour. Most of us have experience at Seekonk, which is a little different than Oswego, where I think only a handful of drivers had any laps around there. But, 4 races to go, anything can happen. It's still, I don't want to say there's a lot of racing left, but there's enough racing left for somebody to capitalize on somebody else's mistakes.
Last year you had Ryan Preece and Woody Pitkat really breathing down your neck hard. And with Buzz Chu Motorsports leaving and Ryan Preece getting the Xfinity ride, cutting back to a partial schedule in the NASCAR Tour, a lot of people said, well, who's Doug Coby going to race against? And, obviously this past weekend with the top 3 points guys finishing top 3, it shows those guys raised to the occasion. They're right there like they were. But what does it mean to go out there and those guys run as hard as you can? If you are going to try to keep the points lead, all that, you pretty much had to win when the race unfolds and those guys up there. Obviously frustrating for them not being able to gain on it, but it's almost like you were in a situation you had to win to keep your lead. And
yeah, you're looking at, if you win versus them winning, you're looking at a minimum of a 10-point swing from first to second. It's not a big deal if the guy who's 8th in points goes out and dominates the race and gets all the bonus points, but if the guy who's 2nd in points goes out and beats you by 1 position and wins and finishes second, it's a huge swing right there. And you're in that situation on the Southern Tour where, you guys don't have the car count that we have typically, so it's harder for you guys to make up those bigger gains in points. And oftentimes with, you, Bert, and Georgie, it's going to come down to who wins and who finishes 2nd or 3rd, and that's an 8-point swing right there, and that was certainly going through my mind, when we had a restart. I think there was about 15 to go in the last restart, and I knew Justin was 2nd, and he was trying to lead a lap to get a bonus point. So not only do I have to fend them off on the restart, well, then Timmy pulls in to 2nd or after turn 2, and then he's breathing down my neck, for the last 10 laps trying to gain the bonus points. And I guess changing the point system for wins, earning you more points is doing what it's supposed to do, because if you're going to have the top 3 guys in points finishing 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, we're not going to give each other an inch for that win. That's just what it boils down to.
A week ago, Kyle and I were previewing Oswego, and the only similarities that we noticed between this and Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park was actually the length of the racetrack. They're the same size, but I think that's about where it began and where it ended. What made it so, I wouldn't say easy for you guys, but how were you able to adapt so quickly to figuring this facility out, obviously qualifying 2nd in the event, and then having such a dominant performance?
Well, I think from a setup standpoint, Phil nailed what we needed, or what I felt like I needed for the day. That's one side of the equation, is making sure that you have a car that can do what you don't even know you're supposed to do with it. And I can tell you over the course of the day, I certainly learned some new tricks, every time I went out on the track. And that's why we laid down probably more laps of practice than anybody. I'll never understand why some of these guys go to a brand new racetrack and take 20 laps of practice and think that that's good enough. We were out there, I think we probably ran about 80 laps of practice, and I would have gone 180 if I could have. But from a driving standpoint, that racetrack was a combination of 3 of my favorite places to race: Stafford, Seekonk, and Concord Motorsports Park. And people will think I'm crazy by saying that, but the way that you have to mentally approach that racetrack is the same way you'd mentally approach Concord, with certain bumps, certain lift points, certain triggers for you to do something different in the car. And I think I noticed that very quickly, that I found some spots on the track that if I did the same thing on that spot every single time, it was a good lap. And the speed sensation is also very similar to Concord speed sensation, where there's certain parts of the track where you have a lot of speed and you have to roll out of the throttle, and there's other parts where you have to catch your breath and make sure you don't slide the car around too much. So it doesn't look like Concord, but mentally you drive it like Concord. And then, setup-wise, I mean, obviously, size-wise, it's kind of more similar to Stafford than Thompson. You can call it a 5/8 all you want, but Thompson's a different beast with the banking that it has. Being that it's a flat 5/8, it's more similar to Stafford. And being that the corners are the straightaways are more rounded than straight, it actually reminded me a little bit of Seekonk. And, a couple people who were there made comments that it's no wonder Matt Hirschman does so well at Oswego. It's because it's just a big version of Seekonk, which he also does, very well at with the open modified shows there. So I think there's some similarities between all three of those tracks. And if those three tracks had a baby, it'd be Oswego Speedway.
That's a really neat comparison. I've been watching races at Oswego. I grew up as a super modified fan and been out there a million times. I had never heard anybody compare it to Concord, although not a lot of the same racing. That's a particularly super modified area. And what was it like kind of seeing, they had the ISMA Wing Show out there, seeing those guys? Could you watch and compare or try to take mental notes? Was there anything helpful between the two?
The only mental note you can take about the ISMA Wing super modified there compared to a tour mod was this. I turned the fastest lap all day in our mock run and practice in a tour mod, 17:81. The ISMA pole was a 14:80.
Wow.
They were averaging, I think, 153 miles an hour around that place. So the only thing that you could do was watch them go around and say, damn, that's just too fast. So there was really no comparison. Those cars with the wings, I didn't get to see the wingless supers go around, but the wing cars can drive it into the corner so deep and just smash the gas so hard in the middle of the corner, they barely lift. For me, the reason why it's like Concord is because I feel like the distance on the front stretch at Oswego is very similar to the distance on the front stretch at Concord before you lift to go up the hill towards the scoreboard. And, I was standing there with Phil watching, I think it might have been modifieds or the supers go around. And I said to him, even just the sound of the cars, the gearing and how they scream down the straightaway, I could close my eyes right now and feel like I'm at Concord. And that actually, the next time I went on the racetrack, I said, well, how do I gear myself with my brain to get around Concord? And it's a track where you can't be scared of Concord. You got to go fast, but you also have to put your car in the right spot, or else you're going to scrub speed off. And Oswego has those little idiosyncrasies where you think you're going fast, but you're not, or you think you're not going fast, but you are. And certain tracks that we race on have that. So it was just a really good fit for me once I got mentally comfortable with the facility, once I understood that there was a lot of bite there, and I tend to like tracks that have a lot of grip. If the track has grip during the day and then turns into an ice skating rink at night, that's typically not a track that I will label as one of my favorites. But Oswego was just a great place. It was really neat to go up there. They had a great crowd for Saturday night show, and I think you'll see us back there next year.
Well, that's good, and that's one of the things I wanted to bring up, because on paper, when you look at the balance of this schedule, you wanted Seekonk with another series early in July in an open modified race. You've got a couple of victories at Stafford this year. You won in New Hampshire. You've done well historically at Thompson Speedway Motorsport Park. So really, you guys have got to be brimming with some confidence, but realizing anything can happen. But you're in a good place right now with the remaining races that you do have left. But when you looked at the schedule before you knew about this Oswego success and how you've done at Seekonk this year, and you looked at the remaining 7 races on the schedule, and they were all different venues, some of which that have been on the schedule for many years, 2 like Oswego and Seekonk that you hadn't been to in a while. What went through your mind? Were you loving the challenge, already looking for the challenge of this season?
Yeah, I knew the season was going to be different from the beginning without Woody and Ryan there. Certainly people had to fill in the gaps. If Woody and Ryan were good for, 5 wins combined or more, usually somebody's going to win races. And if I were winning races, then Woody and Ryan sometimes were second and third, and that means somebody else is finishing second and third. So, I was looking forward to the schedule expanding. I'm a little disappointed that Oswego and Seekonk are not televised. You got brand new new races here. Let's get them on TV and let's get some fans that can see these racetracks. There's nothing against Stafford, Thompson, Loudon, Riverhead, but those tracks can't be the only 4 tracks that we showcase the modifieds at when we're on television. But in terms of the way the schedule laid out, it always used to be just get to Bristol and then coast from there because you go back to Stafford, Thompson, Loudon. And the addition of the second Riverhead race a couple of years ago after Bristol threw a wrench in things, and now you've got Oswego and Seekonk, and I'm assuming they're going to keep their spots on the schedule for next year. So the race season, the home stretch of the race season is a lot later than we're all used to. It actually is now pushed back to the second week of September, which is pretty neat. More racing in August and September, and October is really when people want to go out there and enjoy the fall weather here in New England. So, let's take advantage of that and race as many times as we can.
2 events left in September. One of those this weekend, the AnytimeRealty.com 150 at Seekonk. New Hampshire coming up September the 24th. October 2nd, the Fall Final 150 weekend at Stafford. And then, of course, the Sunoco World Series 150 at Thompson Speedway Motorsport Park. Now, we see the sponsorship this weekend. We know you're a realtor. You're in the housing industry. Is this your sponsorship or is this another company?
This is not my sponsorship, and I think it's awesome that a real estate brokerage has stepped up to not only support the modified race, but Anytime Realty also sponsors the scoreboard at Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park now, and they sponsored Ray Parent in the ACT race at Seekonk. So they're taking advantage of the racing community, and I can tell you from my experience here in Connecticut that racers support other racers' businesses, and we've gotten, I do a lot of house flipping. That's mostly what my business is. But aside from that, sometimes we'll list for friends and family or acquaintances or whatever. And I've listed a bunch of houses and helped a bunch of people buy houses just from racing contacts. So I think Anytime Realty is being really smart by focusing on the Seekonk and Eastern Connecticut area and really trying to expand their business through the racing community. And obviously they're seeing some advantages there with their business. So good for them. I think it's awesome, and certainly support them and thank them for supporting our race here at Seekonk this weekend. And we're ready to rip. I'm excited to go back there and tackle that place. It's so tricky and never was fun until I started winning there. But now I kind of have an understanding of the track a lot better, and I'm really looking forward to it this weekend.
Doug Coby, a hard worker on and off the track. Doug, congratulations on a great win in Oswego. Good luck at Seekonk this weekend and these remaining 4 races in a very tight points battle.
Nice. Thanks, guys. And Andy, don't let Kyle back in. Make sure you rough him up if he tries to get a spot back. Show him his
Dougie's
ball.
up your way. You can take care of this. You can take care of him.
I'm
going
to hear this, I'm sure, the next time I see him. So
We actually need him to come back. I've left him a nice note that he has to find somewhere in the studio.
Oh, nice.
All right. Doug Coby, the winner of this weekend's event at Oswego Speedway, be looking for his 5th victory of 2016 as he heads to the Seekonk Speedway for the AnytimeRealty.com 150. When we return, another new face in victory lane on the road course this time, and Kevin Lacroix. He'll join us in a moment.
NASCAR Coast to Coast will be right back on MRN.com.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, right on our strength.
From work life to nightlife, from home to the road, your day can take you anywhere. These fast-paced times call for Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Advanced Comfort is designed to keep up with you, no matter where you go or what you're doing. They're made with 20% stronger denim and 4-way flex technology that moves with you. Wrangler Advanced Comfort. Go anywhere, look great, and be comfortable. Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Try on a pair today.
Back to NASCAR Coast to Coast. Here's Buddy Long and Andy Sykes.
It is always fun to come back on a Wednesday after you've gotten a chance to either watch a Touring Series race in person or be a part of it in some way, shape, or form. This past weekend at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, the MRN crew was there for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series event, the Chevy Silverado 250 on Sunday. But prior to that, the NASCAR Pinty Series was there for the second time this year in the Can-Am 200. And Kevin Lacroix, a rookie on the NASCAR Pinty Series for the 2016 season, did not disappoint, wearing down the competition, coming away with his second victory of the season and fourth of his career, and also breaking the road course jinx. Kevin, welcome to NASCAR Coast to Coast.
Hello.
Hey, bud, I got to tell you, we were very, very impressed with what we saw in the early part of this race. We were watching some from the broadcast booth at Ron Fellows' track, watching you slowly and methodically work your way through the field and run down Alex Tagliani before he pitted. And then eventually, towards the end of the race, had the lead, and LP Dumoulin was there, but little by little, that gap grew, and you broke that jinx on the road courses and came away with the second victory. Take us through what had to be a fantastic day up at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
Yeah, first of all, on Saturday in the practice session, I broke the track record, so I knew early on the weekend that my car was pretty fast. In qualifying, I did a little mistake on my quick lap, so qualified second. And then at the start, I fell back to fourth place because you know what happens in NASCAR. You know, you get pushed around a little bit. So, and then just made my way back to the top spot, chasing Alex Tagliani just before he goes to the pit. I tried to did a pass attempt, and right after he went to the pit, so I didn't have time to overtake him. But you know, with the pit stops, I came back with the lead and just never looked back. Like you said, at the end, Dumoulin was there. It was pretty fast, but I was just, you know, asking my guys, my crews, you know, what was the distance between me and the second, and I was just managing the distance. I was not pushing very hard. You know, I was trying to save my stuff, and one lap, Dumoulin did a very quick lap, so the next lap I just pulled 4 car lengths more. So, you know, I was just trying to manage my stuff maybe for a late restart, but no, it was a clean race for me. So very, very nice to be back on the top spot again on road courses.
Sounds like just a dream come true weekend. Fast car, fast pit stop. What was different about this road course race than the ones you've had in the past to get your first road course win?
Well, this track is pretty hard on these cars. I've been there 4 times, and the 3 first times were I had mechanical issues. So it's the first time I managed to finish the race. So that's why I was, you know, like I said, slowing down at the end to keep brake tires and the engine good. So that's the main thing on these fast circuits. But we're just also, it's only my first full year. I mean, in NASCAR, so I'm still learning every time I get in the car. And I have a good crew chief, Don Thompson, which is a legend here in Canada. So just keep learning and hopefully keep winning in the future.
I would like to say that you've been kind of quietly hiding in the weeds, but I mean, last year there were 2 victories on the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series. This year you have now won 2 of the last 3 events, winning in Circuit Troy Rivera just a few weekends ago as well. Kind of, I guess, clarifies something for me based on what you said. You ran 6 of the 11 races last year, and you had 2 victories. What is the amount? I mean, were you just under the amount to maintain a rookie status going into this year as well?
Yeah, as long as we don't do 7 races, we're still a rookie. So I'm still considered like a rookie this year. But like you said, I did 6 races last year, and I won 2. And these the only 2 races that I finished were victories. The other 4 were either mechanical failure or driver errors. So you know, even if I've had a good background in the past in open wheel, and now in NASCAR with a mix of ovals and road courses, it's big cars. It's pretty new, and you know, I still consider myself as a rookie because I win on the road courses, but on ovals I'm still learning and doing a lot of mistakes. So, you know, I show some speed, but the consistency is getting better, but it's not still 100%. So still a rookie, but with the last results I've had and the experience I gained on ovals, I will be ready for a good year next year.
Kevin, you're making this sound really easy on a dream weekend. We all saw how exciting Canadian Tire Motorsports Park can be with the Truck Series, and here you are racing with former champions Alex Tagliani and some other great people. What's going through your mind the last few laps? You talked about backing it off, saving your stuff. Very impressive just to hear that. But what's going through your mind the last few laps there?
I would say, the confidence was there all weekend. So, this race was, I don't want to say easy because it's never easy in NASCAR, but, I just gave me a good lead and then kept it. So, but, in the other wins I've had, the last year and this year was pretty much tougher, much more competition from Tagliani or Ranger. Lap times are very tight and competition is very tight, so it's pretty stressful for a rookie, I would say. But for the first time of the season or even my career, I was completely confident in the car, so no trouble at the end.
The level of competition in this series just continues to be very impressive. You're now at the 10-race mark. You've got 2 races left to go. Both are on ovals, but when you look at the first 10 races this year, 6 different winners. Twice for you. Caden Lapsevich is the leader by 30 over Andrew Ranger. You're 38 back in 3rd position, but then also wins by Alex Tagliani, Alex Labe, some of the other drivers that have scored victories. Pretty impressive when you look at that. It may be a big gap in the points, which we're not accustomed to. We're used to seeing single digits at this late point in the season, but what a very competitive group of cars from top to bottom.
Yeah, it is very competitive. Yes, like you say, Lapsevich has a comfortable lead in the points, but he's the only one driver who didn't have any bad luck or mechanical failure this season yet. So for that's helping him having a good lead, but doesn't take anything from his talent. He's a very good driver, and same with Andrew Ranger. He's done some Xfinity race in the past. Tagliani too. Just a few weeks ago, he qualified on pole in Road America. So we can see that there's a good group of talent in our series, and it's getting better and better every year. We keep breaking lap records every year. So even if the car is heavier than in the past, we keep the lap times are always getting better. So competition is always getting better too.
2 events left to go in the season, and actually they are back-to-back. This weekend, the St. Eustache 250, which is in your home area, and also Kawartha Speedway coming up on September the 17th. Now, both of these are 2 oval tracks, but now that you've got that road course monkey off your back, so to speak, how much more confidence does that give you knowing that you're heading back to ovals, of which you've done very well also?
The confidence is coming to me, I would say, on ovals. I've had a pole position earlier this season, and the car is getting better and better every time. Last race, I had a little crash earlier in the race, so I lost 6 laps, and then for the 250 remaining laps, I think I was the fastest driver on track. I took a lap to everyone, so but still finished 5 lap downs. But I'm getting better and better, and I just have to concentrate on not making any mistakes. And for sure, the victories I've had and the good points I have in the standings, it takes so much pressure off my back. I would say for the last 2 races, and we're still learning this season, and we concentrate on next year. So I don't want to put myself too much pressure for the last 2 races, and I want to show some speed, but first of all, I want to show some consistency.
Definitely been very impressive, and you kind of opened the door for me a little bit, because we don't really like to talk to drivers about the next season until this season is done. You've got 2 left. What are you doing in off-season? We've talked to other Canadian drivers about this, because your season doesn't start until the month of May, but then it ends in mid-September, and it's such a big gap. And even us here in the States, we're dying for some Pinty Series action. We want to see what's going on. What do you do in the off-season? What keeps Kevin Lacroix busy?
Well, unlike the biggest stars in our series, I'm one of them that has a regular job, so I don't make a living of it, and so it's nice that the racing season is it's not during our rush season at the job. So as soon as the season ends, I just concentrate on working while the team, we get one new car that we get to build during the winter, and preparing all the body works and chassis and everything. So the team has a big work to do during the winter, but myself, I just work and bring money to the bucket, I would say.
Well, we stood on the hill just outside of turn number 1 under the shade tree and watched a very impressive performance, apart from the tower and then the shade tree over by the MRN trailer. Kevin, it was an honor to watch you secure your first road course victory, and we certainly wish you the best of luck for the remaining 2 events, this battle for the championship, and look forward to possibly talking to you more this year and into 2017 as well.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right, Kevin Lacroix, once again, the winner of the Can-Am 200 over the weekend at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Again, that was his 4th career victory, 2nd of the season, and the 1st on a road course. Again, 38 points back, 3rd in the series standings, behind Caden Lapsevich and Andrew Ranger. They will be at St. Eustache this weekend for the St. Eustache 250. When we return, we will head back down to South Carolina and catch up with Kyle Benjamin on his most recent victory in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East.
NASCAR Coast to Coast will be right back on MRN.com.
The Toyota Racing Team was born out of true American tradition. We've racked up 332 NASCAR wins. That's a whole lot of victory laps. Just last year, Toyota Racing driver Kyle Busch took home the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series championship. We even have Toyota drivers racing Tundras in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. But winning isn't our only tradition. Toyota has been in North America for almost 60 years. We have 10 Toyota assembly plants scattered throughout the United States. Those plants produce 9 of our models right here, including the Camry, Tacoma, and Tundra. In 2014, a total of 1.3 million Toyota vehicles were assembled here in America. That's a lot of cars. The production of all those vehicles has created thousands of American jobs. That's a lot of opportunities. Opportunities that we'd like to keep going for years to come. So let's go, America. Let's go, NASCAR. Let's go places. Head on over to toyotaracing.com to find more info on our drivers. NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, Inc.
From work life to nightlife, from home to the road, your day can take you anywhere. These fast-paced times call for Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Advanced Comfort is designed to keep up with you, no matter where you go or what you're doing. They're made with 20% stronger denim and 4-way flex technology that moves with you. Wrangler Advanced Comfort. Go anywhere, look great, and be comfortable. Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Try on a pair today.
Back to NASCAR Coast to Coast. Here's Buddy Long and Andy Sykes.
Well, the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East resumed their season. They've only got 3 events left to go, now 2 after Monday's Kevin Whitaker Chevrolet 140 at Greenville Pickens Speedway. Stop number 2 for the series, which last ran back in Easter. That was a weekend that Kyle Benjamin probably had a hard time getting over because he dominated the event only to finish behind Justin Haley. Tables were turned on Monday. Kyle Benjamin came back for his 2nd career victory and joins us now. Kyle, welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
It was an impressive performance, and I know that this one had been kind of eating away at you a little bit ever since the Easter weekend. It was such a good race for you guys. Kind of take us through what it took to kind of put Greenville Pickens in your back pocket and focus on the balance of the season until you got back there and could do what you did this past weekend.
Well, we've had really strong cars all year and a lot of bad luck. We've had some good races, and like you said, the last race at Greenville Pickens was hard to swallow. JJ got us 8 laps to go. But the track was different this weekend. It was a lot hotter outside compared to last time. We raced at night, and it was a lot cooler. So I think that played into our hands a little bit. We didn't change too much on the car. We kind of took what we learned a little bit in Easter weekend and put that and applied that to the car, and that helped us a bunch too.
Greenville Pickens a pretty tough, worn-out, flat but long straightaway racetrack. I know the times I've been there in a modified, you have to save a lot. How does that track compare to the other tracks you go with the K&N E Series, and how do you approach that race, for a long distance on the same set of tires?
you probably have to save more of your tires at that track than you do anywhere else in the K&N series. You really do have to slow down and save and really run your own race. Like in the position we were out front leading, you can't worry about what the guys are doing behind you. You just got to run your own pace. And luckily, they kind of stayed behind me and ran my pace, so I didn't have to pass anybody back. But I got lucky with that deal. We slowed down and ran what we knew we needed to run to make it to the end, and it worked out perfectly.
2 wins in your very young NASCAR K&N Pro Series East career, the other coming last year with a family-owned operation. This year, the series gained Rainier Racing with MDM. Was it tough to get everything to gel with a new team? It seems like from the very beginning, when this is one of the new teams that came onto the series, you guys pretty much bonded together very quickly, and you're right in there running for the title right down to the last 2 races. Has it been as easy as it appears to get in sync with each other?
Oh, well, it's been really fun working with this team. It's probably the best year I've had racing yet. Even though we don't have the wins to show for it, we've had a lot of good runs, and I really like the team. Lauren was a big part too, and helped me get up to speed with the team. Marty Lindley also being a huge part, and even tracks like Greenville Pickens that he's been to, because he's got so much racing experience himself, really helping me along and getting me where I need to be. So just a big thanks to all the guys. I've had a lot of fun working with them, and it was pretty easy getting in with this team and doing what we've done this year.
You know, one thing that came to mind with your win this past weekend at Greenville Pickens Speedway, I love the history at the track. You get there on the backstretch, it shows all the past champions and some great names there. But also in your team, like you said, with Marty Lindley, Lauren Rainier, what's it like being around just legends in our sport, you know, and how does that help you approach some of these places you haven't been before on the East Series and really getting accustomed to the heavier stock cars?
It really helps me a lot, like especially on the big tracks. Lauren, he's been a Cup spotter for years, and he's watched a lot of people and helped a lot of people out. Just dealing with air and all that and things that I usually don't have to fight. He's been a big help on the mile and a halves. And Marty, especially places like Greenville Pickens and all the short tracks we go to in K&N, he's been to so many times and even raced on. He's been vital in getting me up to speed, especially Greenville Pickens. He's made me better at Greenville Pickens than I ever have been in the past. I owe a lot of that to him.
And now, and kind of going off of that a little bit, you know, your series has 3 road courses, 2 of which you've already run at Watkins Glen and VIR. You've had good runs there, and obviously have trimmed the points down by virtue of your victory. Did good this year, 6th at the Glen, 4th at VIR. Is Marty, I know back in the day when Marty was running, obviously road courses weren't as prevalent as they are now in all of our different touring series and local racing. Can he still be a huge factor, or are there other people that you pull in to get more experience and knowledge to help better prepare you for the road courses?
You always want to try to find some road racers to talk to. Marty's done a little bit of that, so he can tell you some stuff. And Lauren also, when he's up spotting, like having him in the bus stop at Watkins Glen was a big help, and he was telling me how much deeper I need to drive in compared to everybody else and where they're hitting curbs at and stuff. Any information you can get on a road course is a pretty big deal. 'Cause I've probably been on 3 my whole life, so I don't have a whole lot of experience. So anything that I can get, and also especially in K&N, we usually get like 45 minutes to an hour of practice, so you really got to learn a lot in a short period of time. So having people that know what they're talking about is really important.
You know, as the seasons are winding down in all the NASCAR touring series, we talk about kind of consistent racetracks and wild cards. You know, we were talking Doug Coby earlier, you know, going to Stafford and Thompson, kind of a consistent place. To me, it doesn't seem that the K&N East ends consistently. A road course, which can always be a wild card, and, of course, Dover, the Monster Mile. What are a couple things that maybe you do to prepare for those 2 racetracks, especially the last 2 races being so vastly different?
Well, I need to get better on road courses. Luckily, we have a test day at New Jersey. That'll help a ton. And I've been in New Jersey before. So that'll help a lot. I need to get a good finish there. And Dover's a place that I've been to twice, so I can pull from some experience that I've had at Dover and take it with me this year, which will help a ton too.
Now, you and Andy are sharing some that are very similar because you're both chasers right now. You're both in second spot fighting for a championship with just a handful of races left to go. So you're 27 back with 2 races left to go. You're 10 back with 4 races left to go. You've been in a position like this before. You've chased people, and you've been the one being chased. So what advice can you give Kyle Benjamin right now with these remaining 2 races left to go? With a driver like Justin Haley, who does very well on road courses and has been very consistent, much like Bert has for you on the Southern Modified Tour.
Well, you got 2 real mindsets there, and I joke around, and maybe it'll be a little bit too cocky, but I've always said when asked in an interview, what do you got to do? You got to win. You got to win everything. You got to get the bonus points. But at the end of the day, you're going to race the track. And I've found that at the end, you could scrutinize it 7 ways to Sunday about I need to be on the podium. I need to lead a lap. I need to lead the most laps. But at the end of the day, race the track. Don't overdrive. Don't overthink. You got a great race team. You're doing great. You have the momentum. And that was the situation last year. I really didn't pay attention to points until going into the last race. Somebody said, hey, you're the point leader. I had no idea, and some people might not believe that, but that was the truth. We went after wins. You had to make those decisions. So you got to race the track, and that's it. I'm not the most competitive person in the world, believe it or not. I blame myself. I don't say I need to rough up the guy in front of me. I don't need to do this. I need to get by him. I am a race car driver. I love the Ayrton Senna quote, if you don't go for a gap, you're not a race car driver. But if I didn't get it done, I should have done a better job in practice, during the race, saving my tires or things like that. So don't forget about that. Save your tires. Be there at the end, because there's mechanical failures, there's wrecks. And the last 2 years of winning the Whelen Southern Modified Tour Championships, I've seen everything possible unfold in the last few laps of the races leading up, where people make mistakes, they go for gaps that aren't there and different things. So I'd say, you're a fantastic race car driver. You've got a great team. Race the track. Do a great job in practice. Do a great job planning out your race. And the chips are going to fall where they may. Unfortunately, being behind, you may need a little misfortune on the competitors. You never wish that, but you're out for yourself, your owner, and your crew members. That's who you got to look at when you get out of the race car after the final lap at Dover. So that's all I can say. Another guy might say, if you're in third on a green-white checker, don't lift going into one, and you can win the thing. And that's very true. But at the end of the day, if you do a good job that we all know you're capable of, you won't be in third on that restart. You'll be leading at that restart.
Good advice, Kyle. There you go. No, I tell you, I've been very impressed with you, as well as far as what you've been able to accomplish. The tire management at Greenville Pickens by yourself, because of the domination of laps you led and getting back into victory lane, is very impressive. And that's what impresses me so much about this young collection of drivers you have on that program. We talk about that with Justin, J.A. Jr., any other driver that we've had here on the NASCAR Coast to Coast show, is just the level of maturity, the maturation process. And, I guess that's a credit to Marty Lidley and so many other people within your organization. But you guys have done a phenomenal job. Did you anticipate this much success at this point of the season with a brand-new team, or did that mindset change once you saw how successful you guys were early in the season?
Well, I was really hoping we have the success, and I knew that the team was capable of it. Marty's done a lot in the past with people like Dylan Kwasniewski in the K&N series, and they've had awesome years too. So I was hoping that we would do the same thing, and I'm really glad that we were able to. And I feel like we've had a good season. We don't have the wins to show for it, but we've had a lot of good runs, and we've led a ton of laps. So we've had a bunch of strong cars. I'm real proud of everybody I'm with.
And it is an accomplishment to win at the level you're winning at. Like Buddy was saying, we talk about young drivers and the maturity they have at a place to save the tires, but they didn't get there by accident. They didn't start there. And I've been watching Kyle Benjamin at New Smyrna winning super late model races since I think he was 10. I'm not sure, but so it's no shocking. It's not shocking that he's having the success he's had. He's practically a veteran for the years he's been in it.
Absolutely. Kyle, congratulations on a great effort. Best of luck as you head to New Jersey. Glad you got that practice day. I know you're going to do well. You've done so well on the road courses so far this year. Add New Jersey to that list, and good luck at Dover in the run for the championship. I'm sure you and Justin will definitely promote and carry the flag for the K&N Pro Series East very proudly these next 2 events.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right. Kyle Benjamin, Rainier Racing with MDM, brand new team doing very well in the hunt for the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East Championship. Again, they will be running at New Jersey Motorsports Park September 17th, the JustDrive.com 125, and then the following weekend at Dover International Speedway to culminate their season, and we'll find out who that champion will be. We will crown some more Whelen All-American Series short track champions and look at the weekend ahead when we return.
NASCAR Coast to Coast will be right back on MRN.com.
Race fans, you know there's nothing like the power, excitement, and sounds of NASCAR. Ever wonder what it would be like to strap yourself in the seat of an authentic NASCAR race car? You can do it at the Richard Petty Driving Experience. Ride along or drive yourself at one of 15 tracks nationwide. Call 1-800-237-3889 or visit online at drivepetty.com. Richard Petty Driving Experience. It's authentic NASCAR entertainment. Call 1-800-237-3889 or visit drivepetty.com to reserve your experience.
When the smoke settles, the entertainment never stops.
I feel like experience kind of outweighs youth.
On race weekends, your favorite NASCAR personality is an everyday superhero.
Kyle Busch driving for his life right now.
But when they leave the racetrack, they're just like everyone else.
Our lives are so much different than what people may think they are.
I'm Susie Armstrong. Join me on a daily journey as we discuss the hot topics and engaging personalities of NASCAR Nation. Ned Jarrett's World of Racing, weekdays on the Motor Racing Network.
Live sports are the one true reality entertainment, where a single dramatic moment can become timeless. In NASCAR, Motor Racing Network's live broadcasts elevate your senses to the sights, sounds, and struggles taking place on the racetrack.
One final lap in the Daytona 500. Joey Logano has the point. Junior crosses over.
The power of radio to the imagination of the listener. Tune in to the Motor Racing Network. Visit MRN.com for an affiliate list in your local area.
Back to NASCAR Coast to Coast. Here's Buddy Long and Andy Sykes.
Well, some more 2016 champions at tracks were crowned over the weekend. Wayne Hale takes the championship this year at Lonesome Pine Speedway in Virginia. TJ Zacharias at Chemung Speedrome. Spencer Speedway crowned Kevin Timmerman their champion this year. Utica Rome found Matt Shepard, the champion at the one of the many dirt tracks that we have on the Whelen All-American Series. Craig Von Dorn at Grandview. Ben Schaller, the dirt late model champion at I-80 Speedway in Greenwood, Nebraska. Look at this guy. 12 titles for Bobby Wilberg at Madison International Speedway in Wisconsin. That's pretty phenomenal.
That's commitment.
It is. It is. Nobody's committed him yet, but he's doing pretty good. Champions to crown this week at tracks. We're looking at Motor Mile in Virginia, Columbus in Ohio, Devil's Bowl Speedway pavement in Vermont, Lee USA Speedway, a track you're familiar with in New Hampshire, Adams County Speedway in Iowa, Rockford Speedway, Illinois, Colorado National Speedway. So those are some of the other champions Kyle is going to be talking about next week, because I'm taking a weekend off. Now, the Whelen All-American Series standings didn't come back out before we got on the air, but we do know that Matt Bowling and Keith Rocco, they only had a point separating the two of them. Bowling was rained out at South Boston, Virginia. They'll reschedule their Twin 75 September the 17th. He has got a 50-point lead over Peyton Sellers in the battle for the track championship. He did go to Dominion Raceway, took one of the victories in the Twin 75s and finished fourth in the other. But Keith Rocco is on the move again. Took the victory at Stafford Motor Speedway on Friday night in the SK Mods, 23 cars there, and 7th at Waterford Speed Bowl, New London Waterford Speed Bowl, 23 cars there. Healthy car counts in those SK modified classes.
It is, and I think the only thing that's always been a testament to Keith Rocco's national standings every year is the competition, especially at Stafford Motor Speedway, Thompson Speedway getting the numbers back up, Waterford Speed Bowl on Saturdays. Can't count him out. He's a closer, that's for sure.
Bobby Isaac Memorial was run over the weekend. We would be remiss if we didn't mention that at Hickory Motor Speedway. That's been an annual affair for many years. R.D. Smith came away with the championship win over Dexter Knipe Jr. and Austin McDaniel. Right now, Knipe's got the Paramount Kia Challenge Big Ten Series points lead and also the Weekly Track Series point lead as well. Tom Rogers Jr., did what he does so well. He wins the modifieds and the figure eights at Riverhead Raceway in New York over Dave Brigatti and Sean Solomito. Sean has a 38-point lead over Dave in the battle for the series championship, and they have just a couple of weekends left to go. There is a great battle. I should go back to New London Waterford Speed Bowl. That is one of the tightest battles that is out there, if I can find it real quick. It is 1 point for Keith Rocco over Joe Gaeta, 2 over Dennis Perry, and 10 over Tyler Chadwick and Teddy Christopher. That is going to be a heck of a battle coming right down to the wire.
That is, like you said, probably the most impressive point battle going in NASCAR short track racing right now.
Did you have fun today?
I always have fun hanging out with you.
It went by real quick, didn't it?
It did. It did. I must have done all right. Smooth filling in for Kyle. You can stay in Connecticut. It's no problem. We know you really like to hang out at Thompson, and I'll keep your seat warm.
10 points the battle between you and Burt Myers. Best of luck going to East Carolina this
Thank you.
upcoming weekend. South Boston, Caraway, and we'll see you at Charlotte as well.
Yes. Hopefully we get the point lead by Charlotte.
Oh,
that's the wild card. We finish with a wild card. We talked about that a lot today.
All right. Our thanks to our guests today, Doug Coby, Kevin Lacroix, and Kyle Benjamin. For my co-host Andy Seuss, our producer Craig Moore, and our graphics artist Robbie Mays, I'm Buddy Long. We'll see you back here next week for another edition of NASCAR Coast to Coast.
This has been NASCAR Coast to Coast with MRN short track experts Kyle Rickey and Buddy Long. Tune in next Wednesday at noon at MRN.com for more talk from NASCAR home tracks and touring series. NASCAR Coast to Coast is also available on demand in the MRN.com Media Center or download from iTunes or Stitcher. NASCAR Coast to Coast is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.